One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. Our guest today on One Question is Lone Star Sports and Entertainment General Manager David Fletcher. David is also the Executive Director of the Advocare V100 Texas Bowl down in Houston. And so we're headed into the third week of the college football season, David, as you and I record this. It's a Friday afternoon, so I know you've probably got more stuff on your calendar. My day is done. I'm already thinking about the games tomorrow. I want to ask actually about, midway through the season, and certainly as we reach the later stages of the college football season, we'll start to hear bowl representatives being at games around the nation according to the conferences with which they're affiliated. But I want your insight on what happens before this season. How do you guys internally, and of course the Advocare V100 Texas Bowl is aligned with the Big 12 and the SEC. I have this picture in my mind of your all's leadership team sitting in a room preseason and like having this projected fantasy draft, if you will, about who may end up where. Is that realistic? When do you guys actually start talking about that? And how does the early season process work?
Well, Matt, first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity to join you today. Really a big fan of what you guys do at D1. And so I'm excited to be on here to talk a little about college football. And it's a great time of year for that. You know, your vision, while very cool, I think is maybe a little bit different than how our process is. I need to get it more that way is what I think it needs to be. But, we have a very fortunate situation down here in Houston where football pretty much never ends. We are very closely aligned with the Houston Texans, and so we stay very active throughout the year and follow the NFL calendar very closely. We also stay very active in that we're in a very unique and very fortunate situation that we have two great games down here in Houston. One at the front end of the season with the Advocare Texas kickoff, and then as you mentioned before, the Advocare V100 Texas Bowl with a Big 12 SEC showdown to wrap it up is a great way to end the year for the college football calendar. So our process starts a little bit earlier than maybe most. We do have that great opportunity to host a marquee game at the front end of the season, and this year's game was certainly lived up every bit up to that billing with the University of Houston and Oklahoma in a great showdown to start the season. We are very active on the front end of trying to stay very close with our conference relationships, the SEC and the Big 12. The calendar really starts in the spring with a lot of the conference meetings and an opportunity to visit at media days and really just continue to build relationships with the coaches, the administrators, and the conferences themselves that we work with on a daily basis. As we get through the season, we've taken the approach in Houston to be very active in being out front and center with a lot of the games in the area. College football is such a big part of our culture in this region down here, and we have a lot of great games that are going on throughout the season. So while we certainly put an emphasis on the back end as we get closer to Selection Sunday and figuring out who is going to be a participant in our games, we've taken the approach, particularly as one of the younger and newer bowls, to really go out and be as visible as we possibly can within our region. And that means game visits starting week one with our board and with our volunteers and our staff to be out and just make sure that we know what's going on campus. We're a friendly face to those people throughout the year if they ever need anything. And then as we get down towards that end of the year and Selection Sunday, being in position to have a head start for when those teams come down here to Houston, as we know it's a short window, and making their experience down here a fantastic one.
How about your all's title sponsorship with Advocare? If I did my homework correctly, it's been around since 2014. And of course, there's an interesting tie with who was actually in charge of Advocare's sponsorships at the time on the other side of the table. And that's Mike Vaught, of course, who's now the AD at Grand Canyon. Your background, David, is in the sponsorship sales space. And we've seen a number of other bowl games around the nation switch brands quite a bit in the past. How stressful of a situation is that for the selling team when you go into a bowl season without a partner and maybe you're just looking at a one-year deal and you guys certainly have a multi-year deal, but talk me through kind of the mechanics of selling a title sponsorship for a bowl game.
Well, I think first and foremost, you mentioned Advocare and their commitment to college football has been fantastic. We've been aligned with them, as you mentioned, really since 2013 with our Advocare Texas kickoff, and they continue to grow in the sport. They have relationships in Dallas. They have relationships here in Houston, and for us, we're excited to be part of a group that's committed to college football, and to have a situation where we do have a strong presence in that space. As it relates to the games themselves, certainly the title is one of the big three of the three T's of a successful bowl game financially: the television, the title, and the ticket sales. And here in Houston, Advocare has been a big part of that success for us. As we look towards the future and the opportunities that are there on the horizon, I can say that having been through my 3 years here with the Advocare V100 Texas Bowl, we certainly are very blessed to have a long-term relationship there. And given what I've gone through over the years, and what Mike, now sitting in the athletics director chair, can probably tell you is, the revenue is constantly something that you're trying to grow, and you're always looking at ways to ensure that you're providing value. One of the great assets of a bowl relationship is the visibility that comes with that, and certainly through our partnership with ESPN here in Houston, our events have had the fortunate situation to be on the primetime stage and really provide a great avenue for our title sponsor to get that visibility that is such a big part of a title relationship. But also with Advocare, and I think certainly with other title sponsors, the impact that they can make on the community where those games are is something that's equally important. And for us, it gives us a chance to make an impact on our hospitality community here in Houston in a big way, and be able to bring lots of people down here into Houston around the holiday season. It also allows us to really help benefit our charity partner here in Houston, the Pelton Children's Center, which is Houston's oldest children's charity, in a big way, and expand and extend the reach of what we're doing beyond just football. And that's really important to what we're doing down here in Houston, and I think is definitely a big part of why companies invest in these type of relationships.
And that's today's one question, brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. One Question is designed to give D1 Ticker subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences. One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.